Brexit is like some kind of purgatory where you're permanently condemned to kick the can further down the road. In that sense, it's very, very European in an ironic way. The UK has got itself in the most European process possible because delaying difficult decisions is Europe's specialty, and particularly Angela Merkel's specialty, and she's been very effective at making sure that happens this time. I mean, fundamentally, the situation is very similar. There still needs to be something to break the deadlock in the UK about what happens. I think that either a second referendum, perhaps choosing between Theresa May's deal and remaining, or a general election where the two parties take different positions to the vote, are really the only two ways to get through this. I don't think the EU is going to offer any more amendments to the deal. OK, so even if they come up with some sort of compromise, of course the customs union, being part of the customs union, has been long talked about as an alternative. You don't think that'll wash with Brussels? I mean, there'd need to be some very clear decision from the UK that it had broad political support. You know, for example, an election where one of the parties took that to the vote. I mean, the UK Parliament is horrendously riven on this topic. There's a lot of different factions, and everybody is waiting for everybody else to blink and going, sort of chucking out the second best in order to hold out for what they think is the best. And this is why this deadlock has happened. And there's no evidence that the UK Parliament is going to be able to overcome this itself. The hard Brexiteers are still stuck on blocking everything except a hard Brexit. The Remainers now sniff the opportunity to potentially stop Brexit altogether, so they're not really willing to compromise either. If there was a UK election, then a general election, what would that look like? What would the UK look like at the end of that election? Would we see the Labour opposition in power? Who would lead the Conservative Party as well? Would it be one of those tough Brexiteer people in the House, like Boris Johnson, for instance? We do have a very interesting election almost certainly coming up now, which is the UK election for the European Parliament. So unless something drastic changes and they agree a deal in the next couple of weeks, the UK is going to have to hold European parliamentary elections, which will be hugely embarrassing for Theresa May and the Conservative Party, years after the Brexit vote, to be having European elections. But it's likely those elections are going to become a de facto referendum. People will be voting for pro-Brexit or anti-Brexit parties, and there'll be big moves by both sides to get out the vote. So in a way, that will give us a little bit of a signal as to how that general election might play out.
Hey everybody, it's Hadley Gamble from our new CNBC Middle East Bureau in Abu Dhabi. Thanks for stopping by. Now, to watch more, you can try one of the videos that just popped up on your screen. And don't forget to subscribe.